Hello everyone, welcome to Relaxing Survival, where we're gonna have a nice, chill night, I hope. Literally, this is the start of a couple days of vacation for me, so I am hoping nothing goes horribly wrong. Aside from the fact that my sleeping accommodations right now on the base are kind of cramped, shall we say. I do really need to do something about the fact that we've got nowhere to sit in the hotel room over here, but for the time being, this is kind of our bigger concern. We're starting to amass a little bit of a junkyard over here, and expecting a ship like the Lemon Square over there to just sit over here and tear down everything doesn't really make much sense. By the same extension, neither does having a massive grinder pit. So, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do about getting these guys taken down. And I was kind of thinking back all the way to good old Uncooperative, back when we had that little captured Reddit encounter ship, which became the Scrapworks. And how it had kind of the two arms that were extending out and everything. And I'm kind of thinking I might be able to do something like that, but I want to make it a little fancier if I can. And that kind of means not necessarily having it as a ship, but it will be a ship, but maybe part of the base. We're just going back and forth on that. So either it's going to be part of the base, or it's going to be a ship that basically is docked to the base. One of the two. I'm thinking of ideas on how to approach that, because we always said we need to get a little landing field out here, and we have yet to actually do that. Got a lot of wreckage out here, and in the interim at least, it will do a good job of attracting enemy fire, should anything more come down, because, yeah, there's a good amount of stuff hanging around in orbit. Plus, we've also got the supply cache over there, which is a little suspicious, shall we say. Of course, I also have need for a new fighter. We've got the laser antenna that we need to get set up at our intermediate jump point. We've got one of our solar panels wobbling around like a madman right now. Okay. We're gonna start off the night apparently being visited by the entity known as Clang. It's weird. There's not enough weight on that thing to be justifying that kind of a reaction. Let's start off with fixing this, huh? Jaro, we can help you out a little bit with that wobble. I have no inventory on me right now? No, I have no inventory. I actually emptied out my inventory between episodes? Wow. Doesn't happen often. Clang is always a feature. Clang does not... Keen has not fixed Clang, they have just merely relegated him to a slightly less prominent role. That should be within range, because all those are built off of it. Assuming the grid stops. Assuming I have any working bobs left. Did I turn those off? Yeah, stuff coming in. I probably did. Crap. Alright, I guess I'll have to carry all this stuff up there. Or slam into the edge of the solar array and it kills me. Then spawns me back. Okay, this isn't the right spot. Alright. And there's our first death for the night already. Yep, this is going to be a good one. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. And please stick my damps back on. I really don't need to go flying wildly. The other thing I want to do is I want to play around with the NDS Inventory Manager script. I was tweaking that on Unco-op, and it seemed like it did a pretty decent job for what I was asking it to do. Just to get a chance to really play around with it too much. Not hit the solar panel this time? There we go. Please tell me you can help. What in... It's not a case of grid clogging because there's plenty of clearance around that. Usually when I've got a subgrid doing this, slapping out a gyro on it helps, but that doesn't seem to be doing much there. It's a rotor shaft share inertia tensor. Well, the problem is it's not a rotor per se. It is a rotor, but doing this. Yeah, inertia tensor's off. Turn it on and flash it to unlock it, I guess, but yeah, as soon as I turn that off, it's going haywire again. Huh. Well, from a standpoint of how this grid's been built, like an actual engineering standpoint, that does make sense. That it's going to be wobbling about a little. I mean, it's a big extension, big rod sticking up out of the ground, with another rod off to the side of it, which already means it's tending to lean over in that direction. But that's a new one. You have to look at the solar rotor mod page after the stream and see if maybe they've got a new bug that might be hitting it. In the meantime, it's working. It's not hurting anyone. It looks funny, but I guess we'll live with it. Oh, that's right. We took all of this stuff off, and because I've got all of... Safely turn on the bobs. They shouldn't have any range out there. Yes, I do. Knew I had an access point around here somewhere. Good repair group. And flip on. Even if it takes out part of the stuff there, it'll be fine. This needs to be repainted though. Hey, that part worked. Miracle of miracles. You can paint a grid. It's not going away, but this is one of the other problems I've got is the base is not particularly, especially after the damage we took, it's not particularly well wired up at the moment. In fact, looking at this, I'm realizing that everything for that solar rotor is completely dependent on this one block here. If I knock that block out, that whole solar array gets cut off. Let's do something about that real quick. Because I don't really fancy my chances on that holding up. Combat ship was in range to weld it when it was parked on the connector. YouTube is saying you're playing Battletech and YouTube gaming. I'm not. Oh, well, that's why. Hang on, folks. The one field I forgot to change between streams. It should fix it. Well, it's changed in my end. That could mean that maybe it'll go somewhere else. I don't know. Yeah, that is entirely on me. My bad. Actually, I kind of like the idea of... Yeah. Thinking about... I'm not thinking about doing an armor walk, but that kind of works. Bit of girder, and then I can even fit in. Let's see, that's full of that. We can tie that into the ground in various spots. Banshee. Yes, okay. Now I feel a bit better. Let's get this block in. Now the solar grid's got a second connection at least. So, here's the thing about the Bob network on base. And the reason why it's not working down here is because I lost all the small grid Bobs. The thing is, though, they were working, they just weren't very well connected up. I think I can play around with that and make it slightly better. And this might be the area to do it from. Because obviously I've got massive divots sitting out here, and while I've got concrete to fill them in with, I don't have a lot of gravel sitting around, and that's a hijack ship coming in pretty close. Moving away. Mr. Farrell is easily distracted tonight. Hey, Storm. Not missed much of anything. I haven't really started anything per se. I'm kind of running my brain around in circles, figuring out what to start with, and I think what we're going to do is go ahead and... I don't really need to focus too much on the Scrapworks project just yet. I can get that started. But at the moment, not much more than that, I think. So we had this whole area where that little landing rover was supposed to be docked up. Can still work with it. Only just to cover this hole up. Someone had mentioned in one of the comments there, trying to figure out a way to get the game to stop ruining the gravel production, because now you've got the runway mod that needs lots of gravel for cement mix, and all your refineries are like, hey, yo, I heard you like to use gravel for iron, because, you know, you don't have 20 million units of iron when you start salvaging ships at a bulk level, but it starts stealing all the gravel to make all the stuff that you don't really need anymore. It doesn't seem to have quite given us a good workaround for that, I think. So I'm trying to figure that out, and that's the other reason I want to play around with NDS, because I don't think I really need a actual runway on the moon. A taxiway, possibly. I can't... Here's the problem with a spaceship. It's kind of neat that if you have a low enough gravity environment like the moon to actually be able to put down on it and do a proper landing. But wheels and spaceships do not work well together. They work rather stupidly. So is the question of what to do with that. Also the question of this. Get Bob's operational as soon as possible, plus some heavy defenses. Well, the defenses I've got are in pretty good shape. You have to remember, I'm not working unco-op levels. This is relaxed survival. I don't have anything with mega massive amounts of firepower. Everything I have should be able to be handling things pretty good. Okies aside, I mean, that's just to have a different visual gun to work with. They still have much of the same limitations as the vanilla grids. What I'm thinking about is, if I were to take the built-in cargo system I've got here, I just rip that out, by the way. This up properly. Just to say, not the way that I was frantically running about trying to get the place sealed up properly. That. Because here's what is going through my mind with the whole Scrapworks approach. We know from Scrapworks 1.0 and Uncoop that having a large grid with Bobs, it sounds like a great idea, being able to pack them in ridiculously densely and everything. The reality of it is somewhat different, because you lose as far as the amount of space that you're taking up with it, it's a problem. You get too many bobs in close proximity, and you're gonna get a much denser bob population, which is why stuff like the Lemon Square over there and the Doomba do so well. When you can send, 30 bobs in the space that takes 6, you're gonna grind stuff down a lot quicker. So, what I'm thinking about is something I haven't been using on the attachments mod. And that is the attachment base that has the cargo pass-through capabilities. So we can actually take one of these guys, whack that down, and... Oh, that's right, I lost the energy packs I had. Wondering why my energy would be low. Well, it's because... not carrying any of my usual supplies. Supplies? Yeah, I'm thinking we stick that down, and that gives us our conversion point to a small grid. Plus, I want to see what happens with this, because this would ordinarily be bad news bears. You would never, ever want to do this, because this is effectively acting like a rotor, but not like a rotor. Now what happens when we take you... and... oh ho ho! Farrell says, sounding very happy with himself. So here's what I'm thinking for Scrapworks here. Straight up junction. I don't think I have any small grid stuff that's going to really help. Proper junction. Not one with the stupid little tiny connectors on it, please. Go with 3. Because I don't want to go too overboard on this. Yeah, right. Relaxing survival. I definitely want to go overboard. I don't want to have to lift a finger, right? So we've got this setup here. Got a valid connection point to there. As soon as these guys start building out, I'll be able to do something. But right off the bat, if I get that in my toolbar. That's going to be a problem there. Just go with 1 for now. If I can just get it welded up, that'll help. This is where it's going to get tricky, because the terrain here is going to start to get in the way, but I don't want to have to raise this up another block, because the whole idea is I can have this all sitting nice and protected underneath a layer of protective blocks. So there is that. But the idea is I can weld in a whole litany of stuff here, and again, what I can also do to help protect this grid is as I get appropriate steps done here, then I can go in with a gear and just give it something that it can sit down on the surface with without going absolutely haywire. Should be within range of the voxels to lock on once it's built. So that gives me 2 anchor points on this. Plus, if I've got underneath a protective grid, it should be better off. And what is sitting 3.82 up there? Got convoy moving through right now, and we've got this carrier sitting up there. That's pretty close. 3.28, 3.3. Alright, you're moving away. Good enough. Bobs, could you kind of find a way to build that one for me? No, it's like right at the edge of your range. What do I need from you? I need... can't read because of the lunar regolith. Computer's large steel tubes. Well, guess what I got? Got a working supply of that all over the place here. Would get nothing but thrusters if I try to grind it down. Taking down to steel tubes over here. Small steel, but I can get motors. And 2. Don't have any left. You've really got nothing left. Bunch of interior plates on that door, and that's it. Oof. This poor grid got very badly abused in that attack. Large steel tubes, but I still gotta get through the construction. Or the, whatchamacallits there. What about you? Got uranium still. Oof. Wow. Not gonna get much out of these guys. Whole reactor bank is pretty much shot. What about you? I'm damaged. No, I don't care for your thruster components. I don't need those. 3, and it's an immediate inventory full. Wow. Oh, that's right, because I ground down the whatchamacallits over there. That's what's not helping. Oh, and of course, there you go. Now you finally decided to build that. All right. Trying to help you out, Bob. Should still be set up properly. 313, yep. All right, that should help speed up building out here. So now, the gear on this grid. Not quite enough to lock from there, huh? Figure out if I might be better off. Probably over on this side, actually. Looks like it's a bit closer to the voxel, so I can put that there. Yes, immediate lock on the ground. Okay. So between the attachment point to the base and the attachment point to the grid, that should be stabilized now. I should not see any massive problems there. I picked up any new games on this summer sale. Not really, honestly. I have not. My purchases in the Steam sales have just gone way down over the years at this point. There's really not much left to stuff that's on Steam that's new that I really want, and most of what's on sale is stuff I either already own, have said I'm not interested in, or just outright eh. Sometimes it's stuff like DLC. I mean, stuff like I did pick up one thing. What was it? It was... Oh, what was it? It's like the only thing that I've gotten in, like, recent as I can remember. I forget what it was. It was some... There was some game that's been on my wish list for a while. I mean, I've got exactly 2 items left on my wish list right now. So, the summer sales don't really get me for much of anything. Most of what the game decides to give me at this point are Bullet Frenzy, or what the Steam exploration queues try to do is I get Bullet Frenzy, visual novels, and that's about it. Really interested in either of those, so I don't really wind up getting anything now. In fact, I'm actually trying to figure out, since I have a couple days off, I wouldn't mind doing some extra streaming, which I'd be doing over on my Twitch channel. I wouldn't mind switching out to another game. Right now, the leading candidate at this point is just doing a little bit of Minecraft or something. On, right? Nope, you're on now. On. And on. Alright. How badly am I screwed over here for interior plate? Right. With a full inventory, that's not gonna happen. Interesting. You're not letting me pull. You're not emptying out from that grid. I think Keen's a little confused here by the attachment mod, for starters. Yeah, I can't pull from... Got a valid connection point to both sides of the attachment rotor here. It's a large attachment, but no work. Oh, right, interior chain is probably broken. What say ye? Oh, hell yeah, you're broken. Yeah, because you're trying to pass through. On top of that, you're passing through the med bay, which is not good. You can fix that, I think. Because when I did die, I respawned in there, so... It's like it's using the transporter for the med bay. Interim. I know it's not going to be very happy with what I'm about to do with it. We'll still go for it. Temporary setup. Just to get the stuff flowing properly. Can I have a... I can have a... You don't have interior plates for that. Ha 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 ha. So I can move with that. They are definitely... Like I said, one of the problems with the base is the cargo network is currently a shambles. This should fix that. There we go. That should allow everything out here to finally start flowing again. Kind of surprised I was actually even able to do anything. Yeah, it definitely doesn't want to see that as a different part of the ship, and some of these BNRs aren't even trying to push stuff out of the inventory, but... There we go. Now we're cleaned up. So if I want to, say... do... Kind of thinking I am going to need something out here to re-level all of this is the problem. It's going to have holes in this grid for the moment. And focus on getting little chunks of it. I'm not going to make this hideously OP, just like every 3 blocks or so, stick another bob down. Any further there. I think this will work out pretty nicely. Doesn't have to be, I mean, granted, the downside to what I'm doing is I am putting blocks in, they're in line with the run here. It does give me a start. You're not going to build, and you're not going to build. Okay, no worries. This is what I'm going to need to figure out some mechanism to properly level things out, and SE doesn't really have anything like that, unfortunately. Then again, this thing's sitting in the way too, so I have to move that. Time being, though. Help. And all of our build and repair systems. Cycle. Alright, that will help out. Not gonna have the range to get there, but that's okay. Let's back you up. Strawberry pancake out of the way. I'll try not to attract the attention of anything floating out there too close to everything. This little hill I can... I'm gonna drive yourself nuts, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourself a very highly recessed landing gear. Try to land your ship on it. Not the easiest thing in the world. That works. Alright. All this stuff that's going to be ground up. Oof. I can't... I'm trying to figure out a way to get this stuff over here without actually being able to take off with it. I don't want to lock the... really don't want to lock these two back together, because that's going to be weird. Ooh, there's a big convoy just popped in over there. Okay. But anyways, that's the idea I'm kind of having with this whole Scrapworks thing. Build this out and have, like, in the center of the base here, a platform to take care of that. So, it'll give me a slightly better version of what I had over on the other side over here, which was rotored and... Uh-oh. Exodus has noticed something. Did you pick up on me or someone else? C, IMDC. Oh, it looks like we got a target sitting up there. Oh, hang on, there's another unmarked target over there. What is going on there? Pancake time. Aha. Some interesting stuff going on up there. There is... well, something alive but moving. There's another big grid sitting out over there somewhere. I know some of this is debris from the last scrap I saw. Kind of interesting that Harrier's saying it picked up on a target, but what did it pick up on? It's either that or it's picking up on the Corsair, the civilian signal. We get another fight on our hands here. While you're distracted, that debris that I'm seeing over here. That's what I was seeing. That seems to me... we can go up and see what this one's doing. And along the way, we can... I was going to say see what's going on, but I can't do that without cutting the camera over. Civilian puller over there. Oh, there's the... that the Exodus tries to do. He's maneuvering to intercept that Corsair, it looks like. Small grid bobs have the short range, but the upside is you can pack them in much denser. So really what I guess I'm looking for is kind of a modern, I was going to say modern equivalent? Kind of an alternative to your traditional bob designs. These are ones I actually must have touched because I tried to paint them pink. Bobs are on and ready to go. Case. You're neutralized. I don't... no, that must be part of its natural decoration, I guess. The cockpit drifting out behind it, so this thing's definitely lost its primary hull. Let's see if we can deorbit this thing. Turn the bobs off. I think we can snag that easily enough. Preferably not over its thrusters, because those still look intact. Take it back. Those don't even look like they're on. Landing gear, lock up. There you go. Get out of the way before those guys notice me. Floor's closing in fast too. Run away, run away. I got my salvage. I'm probably fighting damps on this thing. I don't think there's anything left. Looks like the reactors are all out. Power's out. Yeah, that's all fire I'm seeing reflected there. Okay, so not much in functional salvage, but good enough. Large grid conveyor arm up and over the center of the flat area. Large grid piston down, large grid small overhead, smoldering arms. Nice flat level circle. Pink it when done. I'm thinking I want to actually see if I can pull off a... I'm going to do it with a wheeled vehicle of sorts, and it's kind of tricky to do that, but I have... I mean, the arm makes the most sense, logically speaking, but I'd rather see it with the vehicle because it's going to give me a bit more control than trying to do it with an arm to a certain extent. Because with the arm, well, that and the other problem is if I do it with a rotor piston arm, it's going to give me small grid options. I don't want small grid options. Let's keep this just above the base bobs for the time being. Just above the base bobs, please. No, that's not above the base bobs. You're being targeted by the base bobs. I see anything coming at me, please. Envoy's passing by a bit closely. You do not have any active beacons on you, so I don't have to worry about that. This is the other reason why I need a fast grind me down option down here. So... it's right away. Have an idea of who might build out here. Probably even fit some bobs on top of the conveyor junctions there to make them a bit more useful. The other problem is the this is another thing I was thinking about, is I could have a arm with conveyor bobs that would fall out, fallout, basically. Kind of like how I tried to do on the launch grid down on Earth, but that didn't exactly work out. Choice of catwalks. These guys are going to be a bit easier to build. Still need girders to do that, but... just want to have some place safe to put these guys down. So if I drop this wreck, or I have pieces drop off of it, I want to have something that can take a little bit of a punch. I mean, I do have some protection from the grids docked to the station at this point, but... not much. Okay, let's get this mess cleaned up. There's another... the ones that are unmarked that are a little unnerving. Because you never know just how... lights down there too is the problem. way too much pitch correction. Overcooked it. Come on. Settle out, pancake. Oof. The heck is this? Sea of Thieves? Pitching all over the place there. Granted, the center of gravity is way off at this point, so that's not helping. Oh. You know what? That's close enough. Oh, that's why. It's flying it completely backwards. I had to find that handy little outcropping in the dark. Oh, this game really could use some more lighting options. Lighting up broad areas outside. There we go. Alright. Yeah, that's good enough. You guys can chew on that. I'll get most of what's there. Shouldn't have to worry about anything active on this grid. See if I can find how well the bobs are doing in here. Make sure they're actually emptying out and not getting stuck. Being favorable so far. Tell you what, let's fix that. There are two things I need to do to get NDS up and running on the station here. Number one is I gotta figure out where to stick the programming block for it. And number two is I've got to turn off the build and repair script, actually. Because that is going to, as I found, interfere a little bit with what I'm doing here. So, I have that Bob script here running off. The problem is Bob wants to do assembly stuff, and so will NDS. And NDS, I think, is going to do a better job because it enables the quota-like inventory system that is introduced by Izzy. I happen to like that a bit better. I'm going to stick... Actually, let's do it at in the secure portion of the base. If I got inventory management and the inventory's down here, and I'm out of... I didn't have much, but... apparently I had less than I thought. Let's do this. Connect into that again. Find the uranium on the side. I know this is not the azimuth reactor bug. That is not the problem. Problem is that the reactor is completely disconnected from the grid. That was an emergency reactor, I never hooked it in. So that's why things are so dire in that one. It's okay, so I have extra stuff helping me out here. 100. I hear you banging in the background, whatever it is, and I don't care. Because I already know you have everything under control up here. Because if it was really anything shooting at me, I would know about it by now. Yeah, that's working out pretty well. Alright, TDS. Getting distracted way too easily, as normal. Small grid drills for a little more precision. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If I go with a smaller... It's hard to do a small grid piston arm setup. So it has to kind of be a rover, but it has to be one that's going to be able to extend its... it'll still be piston driven to a certain extent. And I'm kind of thinking a little more like Splitsy's little underground miner that he did for his monorail line. Something that can push everything forward while still remaining on the track, so to speak. But Not so much on the track, but on the flat section of pavement and armor block that I have under everything. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, Ziggs. Let's see. Do with our new best friend in the whole wide world here. So this is going to be NDS. And the other thing I like about NDS is it keeps all of the settings in the programming block. You don't have to run around 20 million panels to set quotas, and heaven forbid you can't find it on the grid that you're on. Everything goes into the custom data for the most part, so it's also something I don't have to actually go in and change any code with either. So we're going to go ahead and check code. Compilation successful. The other thing, you do have a couple things you can do, and I did this on Uncoop, is I did turn down the, there's a custom setting for how many times it cycles through, so I turned that down a little bit so it didn't impact multiplayer so much. There is also the ability to limit the max amount of ore in any refineries. You don't have refineries getting stupidly maxed out and doing dumb things. But you can see right off the bat, he's kicked in. We've got a little bit of a help screen up there, but everything we're going to do is sitting over in here. That's all of the non-modded stuff. It does have the ability to pick up modded items, but I haven't quite figured that one out yet. But what I can do to demonstrate is say that I want to keep one item of all of those. Please don't keep any extra grinders. I don't need any lower end drills. Just keep me well stocked. One of those. So -1 is going to tell it to disassemble everything it gets. I want 3 hydrogen bottles. I want 3 oxygen bottles on standby. Let's grab one of each rifle type, just so we've got that. I'm being silly and crazy with that idea. One welder, and get rid of all the others. So right off the bat, earlier you saw me dealing with, when I died, all of these guys sitting around here. So they're still sitting in there at the moment, because I haven't told it to go ahead and disassemble anything, if I remember right. Let's find... These also have the various ingot quotas, and this is where I think, when you get down to the ore quotas... Ingot, it says stone, but that's kind of weird. I don't know if it expected that to say gravel. But maybe it can actually keep an eye on that. So, here we go. Arrange blueprints, refineries. Spread refineries, spread out over reactors, spread the blueprints. It's going to be unhappy because that reactor's not wired up at the moment. Queue disassembly, true. So it should actually be capable of doing disassembly. It's got empty reassemblers automatically. Delays, this is where I kind of turn things up a little bit. So the run delay, I turn that up on Uncoop a little bit higher. Maybe it was the scan delay. One of those two. If you want, you can specify the exact block name that's going to have the cargo, the inventory breakdowns on it. So you do that all from here. You don't have to go to the individual panels and everything. You can set aside specific containers, and you'll see it's using keyword here, so component, which should mean that as far as these guys go, it should be respecting it. I don't think I have any ores. It's leaving alone the dock ships too, by the way, but components should technically be obeying that. It doesn't look like it. What's your deal? What are you up to, NDS? Assemblers, let's check the assembler queues here. Not actively trying to break anything down. Interesting. The mod that was working perfectly fine for me on Uncoop, now it's not working fine for me in relaxing. That's a new one. Minor quotas. Not too worried about that. The ice quota I do find. I prefer to turn that up a little bit. And there's a control for stone ore and ingot there as well that might also help out if you're trying to stockpile gravel for things like runway. Ice, the O2 gens. You can see all my O2 gens have now wired. Actually, it is touching that subgrid. Interesting. But you'll see what I set the O2 gens to keep 8k ice around, and it's not trying to pack the grid full, so I can actually fill up bottles. Holy crap! Why not use a small grid bob conveyors and connect your small drills to that? Because that grid is going to be a little on the wonky side. Attachments is letting me get away with that, but I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% convinced that grid is not trying to bug out in some undetectable, unfathomable way. You see, there's the spare bottles I asked for, so those have been stocked up. Find a way to get to work with the subgrids on the base a bit better, because I suspect that's on the yellow square. We don't want that, so let's go back. See if we can play around with. Think what is true, font monospace, graph length. It's actually got graph lengths too, so. The output of that is actually pretty nice. Use off-grid storage, true. Some of this I'll even have to, I'll look up because I don't 100%. The number of settings that this program has is pretty nice. That's the reason why I'm giving it a shot here. We can find out what makes sense. Off-grid. You do not have that phrase anywhere in there. Interesting. At any rate, let's grab that ore container. Do want all of our ores to end up over there, because I've tagged. That's an old. Did a custom tag, and we'll see if it actually takes it. I don't know if it will or not. 2 NDS. You know, see, it's set itself up so that the script is running output on different areas, so I can see my total cargo capacity, because it's not sorted anything out, is all over, you know, 24% right now. Show me, is he doing that for me automatically when I run it for the first time? It's nice that it actually compiles everything and immediately sets the programming block to be useful right off the bat. Let's find our storage keywords. Ore storage. Theoretically, that should be what we want. Let's see what we got. Unknown. It's also mod friendly, but I haven't quite worked out how to make the how to actually make that work too. So if anyone in chat happens to know, let me know. Still working out a lot of stuff. So ores. The only thing I should have on base at this point that's not refined would be the ice. I believe this is telling me that everything has been. This doesn't touch that ice. But I can touch that inventory, so you can move it. You just haven't opted to, but you opted to the other stuff. You can see all the reactors have now evened out, so the fuel is starting to flow a bit better there. It's interesting. You have not done that. Let's see. Cargo B is my ingot storage. Head and update that. Let's see if maybe you can help me out on that one. Siri game. Ingot storage. And it could just be keyword. It doesn't necessarily. It should be reacting to that, but I don't know. So I'm being very specific on that. Let's look that up real quick too. Container. Item-specific keywords for custom data. Ingot specifies a cargo container as storage for ingots. So the text here that list that as a control keyword. No keywords for custom data. Exclude excludes any block from control and view. Manual excludes any block from control. Cross grid includes any block not on main grid. Include grid includes entire subgrid, so you can tell it to, like in this case, include the other side of the base if I wanted to. I suspect this help file may be ever so slightly out of update. Out of being in line with everything. But it's actually working, and it's not killing the game doing it, so... Take a look at storage. Did you do anything to move? No. No, definitely not. Sorting is kind of hit or miss on this right now. You can see it's also trying to sort stuff, but not having much luck. Can't read what you're trying to sort it into, unfortunately. Trying to fill hydrogen bottle on VCZ hydrogen. Why are you trying to touch the hydrogen tank on? Well, this is gonna be tricky then. Yeah, you're trying to touch the tanks on him. That's the problem. You have about a 0% chance of being able to do that, game. Pretty sure you're gonna just fail on that, so... Let's find that control for the subgrids. Turn that off to start with. Include... Exclusion, cross-grid, keyword cross-grid. Include any block not on a main grid. They don't tell you how to turn that off. So I just do that. See what that does. Recognizes that the script has changed its control, the custom data. It's kicked it back off. And it's just queuing, it's looking at unknown items. Okay. That's not updated, though. And I doubt that the Ingot system has updated. Tonight on Relaxing Survival, Farrah relaxes by trying to figure out what the heck is going on with the new script. I mean, it definitely has been... You can see right there, it's queued up backups of all my weapons, so that part's working. Put in the wrong cargo container, but... It is... Well... Yeah, it's throwing stuff all over the place here. There's no way that this should all be in... Yellow lemon square. It's not moved it into ingots. Why are you not moving it into ingots, my silly person? That is what we have to ponder. You cannot get ye knife. Now you must spend the rest of the game pondering why you cannot get ye knife. Change, distribute, item merging, false. Disassembly queue. Ammo, blueprints, reactors, refineries. Interesting that it would not disassemble stuff, but assemble stuff. And I can also set some of the refineries to be specifically for assemblers to be disassembly only. That's what I didn't get a chance to do on Unquap on Saturday. Let's find ourselves a cargo panel here. And let's also find ourselves with a game crash. All I did was leave a screen. So when does King crash on that? Okay. That's interesting. Query game. WTF. Let's find that. Where are you? To the annoying nested levels of folder that they have tucked the log file into. And find out who done it. Space Engineer's log. Oh yes, and they promised the issue will be fixed as soon as possible. Yep. That's interesting. Pull that up for you guys. Display capture. So, the fault on that crash, for those wondering, is right there. I closed a screen and the game crashed. Also, why is it calling my DX9 GUI update? DX9 still even in the game at this point? I wonder. So, yeah, I closed the screen and it immediately crashed the game. Let's try launching that one again. Senior space engineers.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
That is not what we need right now. Fucking hell. Everybody aboard. Yep. Not Anu cheeky breaky. Anything but Anu cheeky breaky.
Oh, I still love that. Alright, let's see what we got. How much did I just lose in all of this setup? 57, 4 minutes ago. It's not so much the game being... It's not the game being mean, it's the game proving itself that it still has some work to be done. Yeah, it's just leaving a console. That's all I was doing. I hit escape to leave the console. Oh, space engineers, you so silly. Unfortunately, the downside being is it's actually, for all the headaches and all the pain that it gives us, it's still also the only thing that does what it does. Yeah, I couldn't help Markham. When that happened and then they introduced that loading screen, I couldn't help but tweak it. It's also why all my menu screens have custom backgrounds on the main account here. You gonna quit your spinny thing, or there you go. That's good. All right. So, what's your deal at the moment? I'm assuming it's being polite in its loading at the moment. It doesn't try to jump in immediately on the world load, or you're still confused. All right. What I wanted to do before the game crashed was throw up a little LCD real quick. Show you guys just what this thing tell us. As soon as I have something I can build it with. Nothing behind the scenes. This is going to be like that inventory. I'm impressed. Oh, I'm impressed with that. What happened is since I've got down here, that makes it even easier to set this stuff up. I like that. Since I happen to put inventory, I can name that inventory panel to get that properly done. Or I did name it inventory panel. It immediately set it up for me. So that gives me a little bit better options on it. Let's change that down a little bit and see what it's up to here. Yeah, it's still trying to sort those bottles into the tanks. Because this is probably before I cut out the subgrid. Guys are all set up for that. I might have to recompile the code to get that screen working on there again, but I'm a little less pained about it at the moment. Give me another one, please, and we'll make that the cargo panel. As soon as I put that in there. Alright. Excuse me. Not that one, though. That's a little bit of a waste of... Here's the one I'm looking for. Inventory. Cargo panel, component panel, ingot mod, or... Output, Q, and tools. Let's go with component panel then. Should pick that up in a second. Right? Oh, I named the wrong one. Okay, that's why. That's actually pretty darn snappy. I mean, it's like immediately upon naming it, it's picking that up. You likey. He was always a little bit weird with that, but alright, you're managing the size of that. We've got no quota set up on anything, that's okay. That just goes to show you just how OP I am right now at the moment. Too much there, so let's find that custom option to disable the subgrid access for the time being. Wanted to remove cross grid, I recall. Cross grid, where are ya? Include grid, exclusion, manual, keyword. Actually, I could do exclusion keyword. Let's check the help files on that. Some come close like Imperium, but no one has the exact same gameplay mechanics. Yep. I mean, it's the sad thing. It's like there's stuff that comes close, but it doesn't quite line up. And really, the closest you get is Minecraft. And you go into the modding scene on that, you can do some pretty good stuff with the game. But at the same time, it's kind of like, hang on, you know, it's not quite the same. I also hit H so I can actually see what's sitting out there. Transport ships. We still got that supply cache out there to worry about. Let's figure out grid names here, because I know you're a mess. So this is going to be the... no, let's not do tunnel rat. Let's do... pokey holes. Takes care of you, and you should already be properly named, as I recall. Nope, you're not. That because of that. Just do that for the series then. It's not the proper name that's got in the blueprints, but just to get that going. Now what I should be able to do is on the custom data, if I'm understanding this right, it's in the control section. Control keywords. Include a manual key. Any block, cross-grid, include any block on main grid. Include entire subgrid. So cross-grid's already been removed. So show cargo keyboard. Yeah, there's some stuff in here that's definitely not in the help file for this mod, unfortunately. It does make it a little difficult to know what some of this stuff is doing. Because it sounds like you're saying exclusion keyword exclude. So the way that that's going to work is if I do want to take an assembler, actually delete that group just so the Bobs don't try to... Bob script, if it kicks off, doesn't immediately try to take ownership again. We take one of our assemblers, say assembler number 4, and we're going to make that disassemble. Go manual. Actually, I don't want manual in it. Just say disassemble for now. So I could say that I want to have an assembler that is completely mine. I could set manual in the keyword, or manual in the name, or I could change the keyword to match. What I want to do is specify that this is keywords for custom data, only disassemble. What we want. So you, by default, the script is going to go through and try to change itself. I just told it you're allowed to change that, and you gonna grab only assemble all these guys. So now you, these set to disassembling stuff when I need to, once I get the quotas up and going. Back on the programming block. Look at what we got here. Make sure that actually applies. Custom data, item specific, block keywords. Block specific keywords for custom data. Do you have block? Plays, toggles, ores, quotas. Component quotas. Panel storage. Probably need to get tool container up and going, because that's why it's having problems trying to throw stuff in the tanks. So all those guys are full. So manual keyword manual, include grid, exclusion keyword, assembler production range. There's a lot of stuff in here. You have to try to figure out what this can do. It's pretty nice. Frequency 1, yeah, I changed the update frequency on that was the one I changed on clock to 5. Make it a bit less painful. So I wonder if this means I could just put it under whatchamacallit. No block section. So if I say down here, and go Bill, you take that keyword. So I don't necessarily have to use that specific name, but disable cooperative mode just in case it's confused by that. Yeah, he's assuming control over it immediately. That didn't work. The funny thing is, it's not a newly found script either. The script has been around for a little while, so I think it's just a case of some of the documentation for it may be a slight tad outdated. Not a big deal. I mean, if I can't do what I'm thinking of doing, I can still... I could always still achieve that way by A, cutting it out to manual only. That would mean it wouldn't even touch it. But let's do something here. Let's set 1,000 bulletproof glass, around 10 canvas, 5,000 computers. Structure components still get to keep 10,000, so I don't have to build quite so much. 100 detectors should be good. Oh, good 300 displays. Explosives, I'm not making any warheads, so I don't really need to keep around. Girders, 2,000. Grav gens, 100. Interior. And thou. Tubes. 5,000. I can hear it queuing stuff up in the background already. Let's go 300 on the medical. Thou. Should essentially going through and doing a lot of assembly work in the background and disassembly too to keep around. Yeah, that's a good amount for those superconductors and 10,000 thrusters. Alright, so now, as soon as it reads that through, that was pretty dang quick, we now have quotas set for everything. Except explosives, because I didn't... Yeah, if it's set to 0, it doesn't consider it to have a quota. -1 is disassemble everything. I guess that one we can do. Dash pop from no quota to disassemble. Perfect. Yeah, we're well over stock of what I was expecting here. Not really too surprising. Solar cell's kind of low, but then again, I had to rebuild the whole boodle up there. The amount of canvas I've got. 500 canvas. Yeah, this is interesting. It should also be... Okay, so here we go. The assemblers... Yeah, it's going hog wild and splitting out everything for me. Prioritizing. Which is nice to see that it's not... It's not getting stuck in the same sort of rigmarole. It's doing a little bit of rotation at least. I mean, not everything's doing... It's splitting up the jobs to different assemblers, so not everything's making power cells at once. So as far as that goes, it's doing pretty good. The mod learning I'm a little worried about. You prefixed your size on that. Oh, no, that's right, because it changed because of the inventory panel. Let's... Okay, that's a little too small. There, now I can see everything that's going on with it. Mind that Mr. Farrell needs to keep an eye on the not-so-friendly skies to make sure nothing is swooping down on him. Battle Cruiser Naga sitting up there at 4.78. Alright, so I need to somehow exclude the subgrids on that, and it's not doing it from the control I expected. Figure out all that stuff. I mean, the nice thing is I can also keep around a certain amount of that. So let's turn up our ingot quota over here. So I want to keep 100,000 stone, which should be gravel as an ore. As an ingot. That's my theory. Scrap, no show. Well, yeah, because scrap should just be always getting refined. Hope it is. Not showing it up. I actually want to keep that there. Show that on the screen. And let's get a... LCD out for you. Down here in the bunker. The bobs are certainly jumping to now all of a sudden too. And that's the reason why I had to turn off the build and repair, because obviously if I had the build and repair script going, it would be absolutely livid over fighting with the inventory control system. What are you building a supercharger for? Why do you have that in there? It's interesting. So you are going to be... Here's our ores, and... Our ores and our ingots. Okay. So, gravel, you can see I am actually surprisingly short at the moment. Everyone else does not even have a quota because there's no point to it. I mean, uranium ingot 2,228. I'm kind of interested to know... That's got to be pulling off of inventory across all of the grid. That's one downside. Is... I suspect you're not storing it anywhere, you're all using it. So that's the total inventory on that I've got. But still, the only thing even platinum's not doing too bad. 929, I mean, granted it's because I'm probably disassembling a butt ton of thrusters. Oh yeah, 436%. That's definitely gonna give me a good amount of platinum and gold. Superconductors I'm also over on, so we're good there. Now, the downside, and of course not having the Bob script running, is it means I do need to set these quotas high enough to absorb demand and have the processing capability to get up there, but... All things considered, that's not too bad. Let's scrap war. It's 570k, and you're saying 506 there. Not unloading, and the build and repairs aren't even unloading now, too. Why are you guys not unloading automatically? Right, because I started turning that off, didn't I? Push components, please. Started turning it off because I was getting tired of stuff ending up in connectors, but I think I have to worry about that. All the connectors on the grid are now empty. Let's try components. Getting there. It's load. Well, it's because it's loaded the off-grid containers first, which is a problem. I can see it's move around that, so I need to give you a home for tools. Your ingots. Components. Equipment. Okay, that needs change to tools. Let's see if that helps it out any. Because at that point, now, try to sort iron into medium cargo container. I gotta get you to stop doing that. Stop using that grid stuff. You aren't having any luck with it. I'll give him credit for keep trying, but not really. Try to get you to change your tune. Can you put ore and ingot on the same LCD? Probably not, because it's the way that this stuff is built. It's going to be putting it into specific stuff to give it that right container name here, so I can hopefully help it out a little bit. An unknown signal has appeared. And same thing. Cargo components. I mean, again, it should be working off of... It's kind of weird that you say keywords, so you think it's going to work off of that being in the name, and sometimes it seems to, and sometimes it doesn't. Let's try that. That should reload your settings. Script should be figuring out life, and it's already returned back to 0, so... Okay. Still trying to push that hydrogen bottle. Iron into 3 from 4. This is not my script, Andrewman. Hell no. Let's get that straight. This is not mine at all. This is something that's been floating out there. This is done by Nick NDS, or at least the guide I'm using for it is for that. So that's why I'm wondering if it may be ever so slightly out of date. Let me see if we can convince Mr. Game. Show me. Yes, inventory manager. Yep, this is by Nick NDS. So this has been around actually since November 2018. And is updated for 1.191, so it should be working. I think it is maybe slightly out of date. So looking at his... Hang on a second, let me just show you guys here. Help a little bit. So yeah, this is the mod, or the script in question here. So obviously he's got slightly better display area because he's using a wide LCD and I'm using smaller ones, but custom data loadouts. Any block can have a specific loadout, so you can say, okay, I want all my Gatling guns to carry X amount of ammo automatically. I could do that with the railguns. That would probably be pretty handy. Here's our panel outputs. The in-depth guide is what I'm working off of on the other monitor, but it definitely is working a little tricky. Built-in compatibility with gravel sifters, built-in compatibility with the nanite control factory, which is the not Bob. Fills gas canisters every second distribution cycle, which is why you see it trying to send them out. To do up to video pictures, future goals, horizontal panels spanning. So that, I guess, would be if you want to have multiple items on one panel. Improved customizable panel control. It's actually not that bad right now. That's doing pretty good. So once a mod item merges, then it will be put in your programmable block console's custom data. The script won't save mod items that can be crafted until the blueprint and item are merged, then it will appear in your custom data. So this is why it's not seeing some of the stuff going on. But this mod, like for example, works with the arc reactors. Doesn't seem to be picking up some of the things that I'm working with, though. But that's the mod the script I'm working with. So that's interesting. So you have 3 bottles. It is used for symbol sorting via priority. It's all pretty straightforward. Yeah, tool is hand tools, gas canisters, and ammo. So how do I stop you from talking to the subgrid, though? Or ignoring stuff on the subgrid. Here's the problem. I don't want it using the tanks on the subgrid for things, but I don't know if I exactly have that choice. So maybe what I need to do, because I don't have a tank on... I think this might be why it's confused, because everything that it's talking to, that stuff off grid, that's why. There was an oxygen tank that used to be on the main grid here that was right above the entrance, and we don't have that anymore. So I need to get that somewhere. Because then that way we can use the tank on the main grid and we should be good. And as far as fitting one in... Mind, I don't have this end of the building fully finished. Mind that that is not done. Merely a placeholder. Fix that. Here. What I'd really love to do is have it inline, but I know putting anything inline at this point is just asking for trouble. Stuff does not always seem to flow through very well, the med bay being a prime example of it. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. Since I'm not really using this side, get rid of that and Mr. Oxygen Tank. Oh, pop a leg. And this makes sense that you'd have some significant oxygen storage on a station. I've got room up top to pipe everything in. That's perfect. Tuba. What you got? Something that's gonna work. 4-way T, 4-way, 3-way corner. I kind of want this to be a lightweight sort of area here. I don't want this to be a all out. Is that good? No, that's not a good spot. Nope, not there. We have having that corner block. Actually hide it a bit better coming out this way. He's not going to work there. There's nothing for it to attach to. build you off of that. Four-way T, I just need a T. Kind of working off that.
Inventory full.
Who knows, my inventories. Whatever shall I do? There we go. That is going to piss off the O2 systems on all of the attached grids, because I'm pretty sure I don't have an O2 grid on the O2 generator on this grid either. But that will give me something I can use to stockpile. Or not. And yes, did you turn off the O2 gen? That's recharging just fine. Interesting. O2s. Yeah. Okay, so they are whirring away now. But NDS should be able to keep those up to speed. I do need a O2 gen on grid, though. Makes sense to work one in, but I don't want to have everything all in one spot. I mean, the O2 tanks in the base makes sense, because if you lose the oxygen generators elsewhere, you've got backup air for the civilians, basically. Granted, there's no way to vent it in here right now, because we're not airtight, but I were have that over here somewhere, more than likely. Still love how that's actually connected up. Silly game. Let's get an O2 bank prepped. Switch back over to... It's not the armored. I need the armored. Where's my lovely spacebar stuff? Keep in mind, that's also a mod that I finally remembered to add. I have Spacebar's consoles installed today. Actually work with that if I want to. Off that direction. Down to get past the lights, and... a little bit of variety over here. And yes, ought to get these guys stocked up. Yeah, there we go. In fact, I may want to change that stock level, because that certainly seems like it's trying its best to keep up. Firmware block, NDS, custom data. Let's get that ice fill level up. 8,000 goes incredibly quick. Loadout. Only false. Aha! There's our thing that'll stop it from going over the other. I've already got set to false, so. Oof, this is going to be tricky trying to figure out how to manage that then. Because on one hand, I want to set that to true, so it would only be the same grid, but then NDS over on the other side of the base can't manage this side of the base. And this is definitely going to have stuff all over the place. It's not going to be a nice, simple, easy, oh, well, this just goes here and that goes here. Here's your ice levels. Give me your ice. It wasn't actually in the script itself, was it? For some reason, my brain is going that route. Ah, ice total. 15,000 should do. There we go. Now that can keep up with the production. It's got to refill a whole bunch of tanks. Look at that, we already got 2 lights on each of those. Alright. Did that help out our inventory system in complaining that it can't get into the VCW or VCZ tanks? Tried to distribute ice from large... Tried to distribute ice from... A. Why did you have problems with A? Tried to distribute, tried to sort... Yeah, it's still having problems with the medium cargo containers. I might have to use... I'm gonna tell it to ignore the containers, because then it won't pull from them either. Sort items true. Spread ammo, blueprints. Gas generators, refineries. I want all of those on. Can cycles on 12. It's a lot of red markers on our screen. Oh yeah, they're sitting out in near orbit. We're relatively safe down here. Exclusion keyword is exclude. Exclusion versus manual, though. What's the difference? Exclusion keyword prevents any control of the block and will not count items in it. Whereas manual... Let's see. Okay, no, there is a bit of... Okay, so there is... Allows sorting out a second inventory. Manual keyword prevents control of any block, but does count the items inside. Okay. So as far as this is concerned, that's saying it will still show up, but it can't touch anything in it. That will not show up in inventory, but cannot touch anything in it. You don't want that either, because you want everything to be able to unload without having to resort to something like a conveyor unloader. For the time being, help it out, what I could do is it's clearly trying its best right now. Let's see if that sorting mechanism is going to help me out there or not. And then you're putting it right back in. Probably using the survival kit, aren't you? Something else I can turn off. I'm going to use the survival kit while you're on the station, because that's going to constantly try using this thing then. The survival kit assembly is going to now be false. Go to the settings. That... Not impressed that I'm still seeing small steel tubes there. Or that stuff is still winding up in... Immediately moving that. Part of the problem that we're talking about here, Keen, please stop. Please just stop automatically routing stuff to survival kit. Same grid, hide empties. Alright. Cargo container 3 is filling up again. We can work with that. Say... Annual. Actually, no, we want exclude. I was highlighting the fact that I managed to drag over ever so slightly. To exclude, okay. it's working then. This is... I think it is just a little tiny bit confused in some areas there. Purple block 2, you should now be properly excluding that. You are now set up to say exclude. So you should not even be trying to count anything on that, much less touching it. Let's see if... Same grid only. Okay, that's doing better. Cargo container 3 is still a problem, though. What do you mean 3? Error. This is going to make it a little well, actually, no, it does. Because what I can do is I can use NDS on the subgrids here. And use that to push everything out. If I were to use... no, because I can't tell it to... Can't tell it to just empty everything is the trick. But that seems to be doing the job. Let's also grab the... Same grid, please. You've got a fighter cockpit on this grid. Come on. Okay. That's what I want. Fighter cockpit. Let's make sure we got you on exclude. Okay, so you should now not be having any problems. You're not going to take cargo. My next nightmare. How am I going to deal with a lemon square with this setup? Alright, what are you still trying to do? Unknown items, unknown items. It does say it's supposed to be putting the custom mod blocks in here, but I'm not seeing that happen. This is all vanilla stuff that it's doing right now, so I'm a little confused at that. Also because I know I am running out all over the place. Processor cores. It knows this stuff exists. It's just not adding it into the custom section. It's also not sorting any of those containers properly, because I'll bet if I look in that ingots container, it's still got... If I can spell ingot correctly tonight. Yeah. And that large cart, it's not putting the stuff where I told it to go. So, based on that theory, because of... Let's try this, because all of these containers are labeled as such. It is indeed truly keyword based, then it shouldn't have any problem with that, except unless it's the square bracket throwing it. Let's reload. Let's see what you do. To large cargo container from Ox. Where are you picking these random things? You've got the containers for it. Oh, it's big, it's yellow, and it looks like a, whatchamacallit. Big yellow square, so lemon square. Try this. This was all done to hopefully support Izzy when I got her up and running, but I think for the time being, we will go with that. Don't believe it's going to sort out ammo properly. Downside, but we'll try anyways. Let's see if you wake up and stop messing around with things that you shouldn't be messing with. Survey says Gold into medium cargo container 37. You have this fixation on cargo container 37. 2 of them, no less. Maybe that's also confusing it. Multiple names. Could be a problem. I know there's going to be so many repeated names on these grids from the destruction. Let's name you 37B, and you will be 37A. Maybe you'll figure out where you actually want to send it. Where are you sending it? 37. Yeah, good luck with that. How? How are you still trying to send a 37? Recompile. Alright, let's see what you do now. Tried to fill hydrogen bottle in VCZ hydrogen tank. Oh my. You're gonna drive me batty. It's nice, it works, but it does have some funky, weird shenanigans that it's trying to do. Tried to sort into large cargo. Oh, good grief. Hey, you are completely trying to use the entire subgrid for that, aren't you? I could fix this relatively. I could try to fix this in one way, and that would be to do a one-way sorter on it. But I don't think. If I have one-way sorters attaching to this grid, then that lets me unload, but it won't let anything load. But then is NDS gonna have a problem with that? See, the nice thing about this is if I do get this working and figured out, I can take all this stuff in custom data, copy it out to Notepad, and then instantly get it on any other world. Like I can take it over to Uncoop. Still way overstock on some of this too. It hasn't quite gotten anywhere on some of these items. Can you just... I think you're confused. Some of that's from the crash. Turn all of you guys off. You are on disassemble duty. You're on assemble duty now. Okay. So now it's actually obeying the only disassemble option, apparently. Got a lot to disassemble. Are you sitting on for middle grid? Got 147,000 and it's trying to disassemble. Yeah. That's what I was worried about. We don't need all of these parts, so I'm going to have a lot of ingots sitting down here. Ingot storage could be a problem. Speaking of which. Nope, still hasn't touched it. Probably because it wants to move it over to flip in here. I wonder if it's doing the cargo container off of priority in the list. Like, because that one happens to be there, it's trying to use it more. But it's definitely not having any luck with that. Just refusing to obey anything about limiting that. So where is that setting? Blueprints, later refineries, distribute, do loadouts, do logic. Do loadouts, let's try that. Why does SE do multiple names with the same number? Yeah, it happens when, especially if you start merging grids around, or you manually build something, but then you projector something and you rebuild it. It lets you get away with it, which is not really ideal. find where this setting is. Sort items, spread ammo. The scan for mod items is on. It shouldn't be having problems with this. Merge blueprints, true. Item merging, false. Empty assemblers, true. Item merging is false. What does that do? Item merging, experimental function for merging duplicate stacks of items into fewer stacks. Warning, do not use in multiplayer, causes item desync. So that specific feature that is there is what causes the problems with... This is off because that what causes Izzy to break. That's why on unco-op, after a while, if you run Izzy, you can't pull anything anymore because the stacks, if you have sorting on, it merges stacks and it causes problems, which I have it off here because this is also technically multiplayer. Scan for mod items is true. You're trying to find stuff, but you're just not getting rid of it. Or not putting it in anywhere. Bonus reports, yeah, the storage keywords, that's... Let's see what we can find here. Storage keywords. Component storage keyword says specify... Designate a cargo container as storage for components. Put in your exact name, you didn't like it, but then you also still had the grids on those. Little, what should we call it, square brackets. So let's try going back. Grab the ores first. That's not gonna help. I don't have any ores, I have ice. But okay, we'll try it. So I don't know if it also was complaining about the space being in there too. Who knows? Cargo B is my ingots. Try you. It's quicker to just go out and back into some of these panels than try to undo what the search did. Really keen. Great, I am using the game for something that it is not supposed to be getting used for. Alright, did you actually keep the emerging at the end there? Yes, okay. Keeping the semicolon there. Got 439k ice, and according to the total inventory, ice is 530k, so you still got 60k out there, which makes sense because there's 4 O2 generators counting towards that inventory. And they're filled with 15 each, so that lines up more or less. Need better luck. Try to sort cobalt into large container 2. I don't get it. You keep insisting on using this damn grid. Where? Let's find out what happens. Disconnect and move you away. Now, you cannot send anything into that blasted thing. Just reloaded. Maybe it's just confused by all the subgrids being present. Who knows? Disconnect you as well. Give you a recompile. Okay. Try to sort into large card A from... Why are you... sending ingots, which you've been explicitly told to send into a cargo container with a different name, and you're sending them into the ores inventory. What? Under what method does this make sense to you, game? Yeah. You're dumping all your... I don't understand. I don't know what it's up to. It should be sticking it all in there. It's not. Let's give it the most simple possible thing to do. Doesn't get much more simpler than that. Custom data. Will put them where I want them to go. Recompile. Wow. Yeah, the problem with with using the Izzy block namer, you shouldn't have to. The game should acknowledge, and granted, I can understand some of this extent of why they didn't do it because of if you have two grids that come together and one's got a large cargo one and one's got a large cargo one, then someone would have to then otherwise be renamed, and that causes problems. And if you change the name on something, then it's on the hotbar, you're going to break that. But let's face it, if you project something, it breaks, and you rebuild it, it breaks the hotbar anyways. You just keep wanting to send everything into the wrong place, even though I've told you half a dozen times now, very explicitly, where not to put things. I mean, it doesn't get much more straightforward than that. That's actually the block name at this point. It's interesting. I could turn off the option to empty out the assemblers. I don't think that's causing the problem. There's something else here that's up, and I'm not entirely certain what it is. I suspect it's causing problems not letting it get to the point where it can load the mod items in. Because I'm still not seeing updates to here or anything out of the mods. There's nothing. Put limit, graph length. Display quote is true. I don't know. We'll leave it running. I mean, it's not killing anything. It's helping me disassemble a lot of crap that's out there right now, so all the more power to it. In fact, I might even want to do this. Well, I can see that on the screen. Up until the point where you open the window that doesn't obey the transparency settings in the game. Thank you, Keen. You note that custom data doesn't adhere to transparency at all. It says, nope, you're going to be displayed on full. Let's make you to that. Keep this a little more in line with what I've got. Computers we are actually low on. So I'm glad to see it working on that. Let's build constructions at 200. Displays, 300. We can certainly disassemble some of those. Converters we are indeed low on, and we should probably even increase that. Grav gens 300, we'll keep 300. Interior plate. That will do. Large tubes. You're working your way up to that. Medical, you're working your way. Get a little better. Little grids, fine. You can keep a lot of them around. Time being. Motor. Only just to let this catch up to itself, because yikes. There's a lot of stuff that it needs to figure out. There's no power cells on base. New components, we definitely don't need that much. Reactor, small tube. Way up, and solar cell. Working our way up. Let's see these spin up and update. Okay, still plate we're online with. Small steel tube needed. Reactor's gone. Okay, that's a bit better. That should hopefully handle production a bit better. Alright, let's just a little bit. There you go. Suspect you're potentially not clearing out the disassembly queues when I change that over. So that should help out. Alright. That's enough. That will help me at least guarantee keeping some parts around. While we figure out what to do. How'd you get? Not very far. Good. Trying to think of what to need. Mr. Farrell needs a solution for Scrapworks out here. Something that will let me sit down on a plate like this and slowly go forward and not drill out everything underneath it. But just the teeny tiny layer. And at the same time... Hang on. You know what? That's been bugging me enough. Let's get that supply cache. That has been sitting out there 2 weeks now. I feel the need for a little bit of action. Alright, clear base. Cookies and GATs are enabled. Yep, hit the ground. Actually, that's a perfect spot to stop, honestly, because I forgot to put shield, which I'm sure is now extremely low. No, it's not that bad. Peekaboo. You got anything? You're one of these guys that just explodes, aren't you? Pokey's off. Cat's off. Shot out. Yep, that's what I thought. Explodey. Gotta find a way to fire these railguns in staggered pattern. Space engineers, if you need weapons, you really kind of need to have something like a whatchamacallit, some form of targeting system. Why have you now suddenly gone full power? Oh, the railguns, right. Can you tell the strawberry pancake needs a little more TLC? Just a tiny little bit. Glystorm hover engines. That has some potential. The trick with the hover engines and drills is you've got to have the drills away from anything that could... They've got to be away from the hover engines themselves. You can't have them anywhere near it, or they start interfering with the hover engine operations. I'm gonna apparently have decided to not join in on the festivities down here. There you go. Not that I need more steel plate, but... So I should make my quest. I should make my quest to be able to, build up like 1 billion of each ingot in the base. just based off of salvage alone. That would be an accomplishment. Silly one, but an accomplishment. Speaking of which... Hey, game decided it wasn't gonna... Game is up to some interesting things. It's almost a perfect way to park the circular crater. Actually works out pretty good almost for a little dock for the pancake. It depends on how far the drill heads stick down. Like if I were using the... If I were to borrow the azimuth drill heads... Yeah, that's right. I only got the one on here. The they don't stick down quite as far. A vanilla small drill head. Oh god, that thing sticks down hideously far. But I can. Bob, here. Let me give you a hand. And you can out Bob the Bob, because you do not have enough Bob. Alright, problem dealt with. No more annoying little blip on my radar. Making me think that something has got within 3K that I haven't realized and could potentially pounce on me. If I get a tail on this thing, I should rename it the Horseshoe Crab and paint it brown. Just saying. Just our small ship, they stick out about 2 blocks. Okay, yeah, so I think 2 blocks is okay that it won't interfere with the hover engines. But it seems like anything really big sticking out below, especially large grid. Large grid just... Try to stick drills in a hover grid. It works, but it can be a bit hairy and dicey at times. Don't try to disassemble that thing, please. You're not the real Bob. Just got some armor plates. I'm okay with having a couple armor plates. Has the grid calmed down? Hey, the solar grid has calmed down. Alright, so... Let's talk... landing gear for starters. Be all and end all of all devices. Bob, that's not funny. Alright, actually... He's a gear. Build this blasted thing right off the deck, so to speak. Do have access to hovers, so next trick is if I use azimuth drills, I have to be very careful about weight and at the same time keeping grid movable. Actually, I guess I don't really have to worry about gravity components because the game will... NDS will keep me in the loop on those. Drills. I can't use right-click drill because it's going to drill way too far down. So, hey, what do you know? It's the perfect height to do this at. So we kind of just do a little bit of a carpet munch system here. Did I just say that? No. I don't want to say that, Farrell. The things that you don't want to be saying on a stream. My apologies. Mowing the lawn is the word I'm looking for. We might even be able to... That's what I could do, is even just see how they're going to do right now. Let's go for... cockpit. Net in here, and it is bugging the crap out of me. It says, aha, I have found moisture. Drill. The only thing available on this grid. That's get in. No, I can't. The spectator camera, you can. Especially because I can see how far down, how deep the rabbit hole goes. Okay, shield generators don't like that. But no surprise there. It's not too bad. That's about half block down at that height. But now here comes the trouble. Yes, I can use the hovers on that. And get away with it. Something to keep the grid from going completely down into the ground. Actually, what I don't need are hovers. Do this a little better. Save myself a bit of headache, because the second I try to use those hovers, it's not going to work too well. But what I can do is just set up a wheelbase outside of the range that would be expected to fire. So I would start, I'd have to crab it this direction, build out the platform, then I could turn it around to do this, but this would be a bit more stable and easier to control, I suspect. What I need are 3x3s. It's going to have the wonkiest steering geometry of any ground vehicle I've built so far, probably. It's just to start with. Reactor. Probably ticking off the system to no end right now. There's a reactor over here. There's... Wait, what? Oh, right, because those two are on grids that are handled differently. I don't have the reactors directly accessible on the base. Just these guys now. We need to fix that, because neither reactor is actually connected. In that the reactor for the other half of the base is still sitting out in the front stoop. So I haven't moved that yet. Let's actually grab a little bit for this guy. Act wonky because I can't build out the other half of it at the moment. Before I drop it, let's... That was incredibly handy there. Thank you for placing the very block I was placing, Keen. Should be able to get it in over here. Nope. Problem can be solved through judicious application of that. Oh, this is gonna fail so hard. It's gonna fail so hard. It's not even funny. Those wheels are nowhere near tall enough. Whoa. Alright, game, what'd you just spawn in? Everything dropped to naught on the speed for a second there. Got an unmarked grid, 5.53 out. Drifting away. A junk barge way up there, booking it across the landscape here. And meanwhile, down here on the ground, things that are not going to be working very well. Yeah, that's definitely not going to help. Purposes of getting this up. Hang on. I was about to engage in one of the traps that you don't get into. This game. Hover engines. Namely, don't build what you can't stop. It's not a lot of fun when you build hover engines on something and it just takes off across the landscape because you've got to put thrusters on it. It does tend to dampen the enthusiasm ever so slightly. However, I have also forgotten gyros. And there it goes. Yep. There you go. Build it up. Okay, let's talk wheels. I guess this does kind of help from that standpoint. Do this then. Altitude 3.5 on the min. You're barely holding it on that thruster alone. Let's do this proper like. 5x5 on the right. 5x5 on the left. If it fails, we have all learned something, so it is good also, yes. So the idea is these guys can plow the road behind. As long as they keep the rear wheels on the platform, we'll be good. Then it's just a case of having the front wheels far out enough that they're not going to drop into the hole as being dug out by that. I'm doing 5x5, so I don't really need that much of a long arm on them. So yeah, you can have that. I just love how, yeah, it wants to place that on that block. So on this side, I want to line the grid up correctly. I've got to do that. Structural reinforcement on the front so we don't go kablooey on the first pothole. Oh, in the seat, please. Over. I can walk on off. Want to actually keep the maneuvering there, so that those are dragging ever so slightly. That's why I think I'm getting that stutter. Slightly stronger suspension should help. You. Let's also shut down those ions. You're decidedly not helping. Okay. Landing pad. This stuff out of something a bit more resilient, but eh. Drills need to be further forward. The wheels work, but they don't. Basically what I have to do is... Let's see how we can do this. Vehicle is flawed, but it will still work for what I have in mind. Yeah, the drill heads are not far out enough. But the idea is sound. Important thing. Thank you for that game. We do. We plow the road when the road has not been built. That... I've just spent the last 15 minutes building something that doesn't work. Here's the problem. What I would need to do to make this work is there'd need to be a guide rail for these to ride on, and that doesn't exist. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, hang on. Can exist. In fact... I'm just not thinking vertically enough. Alright, so let's say I want this field to be that. So then what I need to do... I have made this far more complicated than it legit needs to be. Because I have the very building that I need to use for all of this to line up off of sitting right there. Give me... That's not funny, hover engines. That's so not funny. I have to turn the thrusters on. Oh, yeah, you are reacting with one heck of a kick. Drop me down ever so slightly, please. Or just let me get the wheels back on first while I'm in the air. Thank you. Now you can turn the hovers off. Now I can turn the ions off. Ooh, that's got a heck of a kick. Back in the range is something I can weld, please. There you go. Alright. Yeah, that's done. All honesty. It's the moon. I don't really need... We can make this work so much better if we just do direct pilot on this. power to do direct pilot. Not enough, you say? You dare want more? More thrust? How very dare you? Okay, we're burning all of our power to do it, but... Get where I'm putting down here, guys? So, I mean, I gotta build a grid up here anyways to support the catwalks. So, why not just use that as my guide rail? So, all I need to do is worry about just how good my driving skills are at being able to drive in a straight line in this game. Alright. On top, 2 guide rails with the grid underneath, or the subgrid, or not the subgrid, my rover having drills mounted down to reach that area. The worst I will get is over time, as the drills fill up with material, they will start to cause the suspension to sag a little. This should work. The rover, how hard can it be? Famous last words. Ions, let's group you up so I can just control you from the hotbar. Toggle block on, off, and off. Yeah, it's the driving straight that's the problem. A lot of wheel spin there, too. There's not enough weight to keep the grid down. Alright, right there. Okay. So, the advantage to doing this is also build this all straight down from here. Azimuth drill. Oh, so many. No, not those. Azimuth drill. Put that in. But don't worry, they're making it work on Xbox, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, the advantage to doing this route is I can even... I do it on this side, but when I get down... I didn't know space engineers had bobblehead dolls. I am hypnotized by the hypnotic motion of it waving back and forth in the breeze. I don't know why Bob built that, because he didn't need to. But, okay. I can take this and extend it out actually underneath here, because it'll actually fit under the grid, which is pretty nice. For the first run, I think we should be good with just this. Now let's see if it actually works. So far, so good. Be a bit drunken monkey of a build, but very careful. Edge on the left side. Avoid the sudden motions. Let's build this in so I do get that clearance under here. You Oh, I know what I should really do. Let's get really fancy with this one, guys. Let's not just make this work. Let's over-engineer that ever-loving hell out of this one. What wheel can I put up here? Wheel could not be placed. Could be because I was in the way of it, so... This is absolutely begging for clay. It's not going to let me do it there, so let's knock down to 3. Yeah, that's not going to work, game. Can knock off a drill, possibly, but... Just to give me a little bit of driving assistance here. So, this guide wheel is going to... Sitting over here. He is not going to be used for steering. He's not going to be used for propulsion. He's not going to be used for braking or air shock. I'm not going to invert steering on it. It is going to have... That wasn't the right one, was it? The way that whole grid just jumped around, that couldn't possibly be the right wheel. Yeah, I was just changing a legit wheel. So it serves to teach you that when you're changing your wheel configuration, make sure that you are indeed using the correct wheel. It's a 3x3 that I do not want to mess up with. Strength. Maximum strength on its suspension. Power is not going to matter. Friction is not going to matter. Don't care about speed or anything because it's not doing anything. It's literally just there to guide me. Also need to fix that other wheel because now that left is way out of whack. 5% versus 10%. Okay. Should. Well, at this point now I'm hitting the ground. Get a little clearance there. Okay, no. I should really have a second guide wheel for this to help me out, but there we go. So I can see that wheel is moving now. Okay, park it there. Let's get the other side extended out. Oh, this is perfect. Here I find a nice, lovely, flat place to build. And what am I doing now? I am absolutely destroying it. Situation normal. Just got back to see a drill stuck in the ground. Has Clang been summoned? Oh, he has been. Doesn't even take that much for that one. And since I can and should be making all use of my cargo, just be clear, this thing is probably never going to take off on its hover ever again. I don't think there's any point in doing it with that at the moment. This will also help weigh me down a little bit. It's gonna make it interesting when I have to change tracks then. If I finish one row, I've got to go back and do another. These hovers will definitely not hold it up, so... let's keep that in hand, and... air tubes, small grid size, please. Plus, if I just eject, the bobs will help pick up anyways. So, our ejection port. And our tubes. Now I've got something that feels a bit more of a useful design here. All right. That's nibbling on the base there. We don't want to do that. For every problem, there is a hideously silly way to solve it. If these lines aren't perfectly straight, I think I can live with that, but... How'd that block not get built? It's in a perfect spot where no bob can reach it, apparently. Oh yeah, let's configure you to set you up, did I? Throw out. Thank you, Bob. The noise of that many azimuth drills working in cooperation like that. What you could do is, why Storm? You can either hit me up in the, I can, check one of the Space Engineers chats on the Armco Discord, or you can hit me up on my own Discord, because I took the Red Team PvP Discord and have turned that into my own, so it's actually a link at the bottom of the description today. It includes the invite link over there, so small little thing, figured I'd open it up just because it helps as far as being able to communicate when YouTube is being a dink, and if I have to change streaming services, or if I want to do a bit of a on-the-fly stream. Gives me some options in that regards. It gives you guys a place to talk to me on stuff going on in my streams. Alright, that shall do. Managed to accidentally hit the right click on those a few times, so that's annoying, but let's talk about moving this thing now. Thruster power, yeah, no. Let's give you an upgrade. It's not going to be a pretty thruster upgrade, but it will work. Our steel tubes. But where will I find large steel tubes in space at this hour?
Inventory full.
Not there, I'm not. Didn't realize my inventory was quite that bad off. You won't even pick up any tubes. Oh, that's why. 20 million tons of scrap. Right. How about an in-character trash compactor option to just crunch the scrap down so you can actually pick it up? Wouldn't that be something? Or a block that you could put on the grid to crunch the scrap down into compressed metal. Okay, so we can keep the ions on and just tie in. Gonna need some extra power on the grid, but I'm using those for steering, so let's not get rid of those completely, shall we? Thruster, thrust. Save it. Me a Azzy reactor. not that one. Let's go full screen. There we go. Now we're playing with power. Alright, so here's the trick. I've dug out that path. I can't do that because I'm... There we go. I gotta get off of the thrust will let me relocate this a bit better. What I have to do is... The heck this works. Yeah, not with that, it's not. The grid will not move on such puny power. You need more thrust. I need more tubes. Where were those gyros I was looking at and munching on earlier? Those lovely chewable gyros that had just enough parts left. Where are they? Oh, they're on this thing.
Inventory full.
Oh, you and your inventory. I didn't ask you to pick up scrap. Why can't... That'd be the other thing that would be nice, is if there was a filter on the astronaut inventory to be able to tell him, hey, I know you're grinding stuff, but don't pick up the scrap. You don't need that. Don't put that in your mouth. Now let's see if this is gonna work. Alright, we're out. Up. So I need these to be 3 blocks from each side. 2, 3. Okay, then you hit that, which is perfect. Not perfect. The spacing of the grid is definitely going to be off. I'm not going to be able to keep all of this stuff exactly, but... pretty close. Oh, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. No, 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 no. Don't have thrust in that direction, do you? Why don't you have thrust in that direction? Why did I remove that? It's clearly very needed. It was very, very necessary. Give this an upgrade all around. Your one solitary downwards facing thrust. That's better. I can move this grid a bit nicer. Grid, tip a little bit. There you go. We're nowhere near where that needs to be. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's beautiful. Now, granted, I probably could have... The other alternative I could have done would have been to break out Pam again and set up a grid that would just do some very quick removal, but the disadvantage I have with Pam is you can't tell very easily how well she's been aligned. So you've got the sensor blocks, but it's very difficult to guide that in properly. So there's always that too. There are less crazier ways of doing things, but this works. And if you don't happen to have Pam, well, this is another way to do it. Gotta be careful here because I don't have my guide rail on the left at that point. But we're about to hit the bobs there anyway, so where ahead do I need to go? I think this is pretty much hand drill range out here. No sense in causing the whatchamacallit grid shields to go crazy over here, right? Also have to be careful to do what I just did. Crap. I unlocked the landing gear. Didn't want to take out all of the stuff there. That may cause a problem. Can I build another gear next to it? Bobs, finish her up. There we go. Alright. Whatever I do, do not grind down or remove terrain in that area. That'll be like hand drill and pick up the stone territory there. So, stop about here. Okay. Now I can get our base plate of pre-framulated amulite down. Then we can worry about mounting our drawn reciprocating dig alarm on that. You have to watch out. Have to make sure that that base plate of amulite is pre-framulated amulite. And you gotta watch out for the ratiokinesis effects too. That is a bit of a doozy. Planar Escobar effects are pretty handy. I gotta figure out something else really to do other than these plates, because this is gonna look pretty ugly. Big giant landing apron made out of 1,000,001 armor plates. But, armor plate is a lot easier to replace than this stuff when it gets a divot in it. So there is that to consider. Definitely would have had problems out here trying to keep all of this level. That's the mine entrance, at least. That I'm okay with, but yeah. gets us out pretty darn far, and blip on this side's not bad either. With that. Next problem is I've got to get this thing out of the way to continue on building the Scrapworks piece, so... that off. On the other hand, afford to book it a bit more now. No I can't. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No! Stop falling off! Not all the thrusters are on properly. Okay, let's try to save it. Bit of diagonal flying, it's okay. It's all good. Hey. Go. Do need to keep that rail. This one can now be scrapped. Took a while for the game to react to that one. Wow. There's some serious delay there. The other neat thing is I'm going to be able to build lighting in underneath this grid, and I have to be careful with it because I need the room lamps kind of to pull that off. But lighting would definitely be good. Alright, let's focus on building out the bobs off this end of the array. So that way they can start processing some of the chunks of that. Grinder pit. I don't need no grinder pit. I got myself a bob pit. Do it properly. Well, watching out for things just diving everywhere around here. Especially the stuff that's not moving. It's the stuff that's not moving that worries me. Let's pop. Build repair. Our conveyor junction section there. We will throw in back and forth on the junction, so that's not a problem. That's all I really need. Well, aside from all the resources to actually build it too, that's something to be considered. Have all the grids. Oh, that's wrong. It's silly that Keen actually lets you do this with placement. If a block only has one valid alignment, why did they let us even do this? It's kind of confusing. Does not make much sense. Junction. Proper junction? Or are you a stupid junction? You're proper junction. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also me rethinking the whole observation I made earlier. Reset the small grid, please. Thank you. Where I was like, I don't know why I put the bobs in line. Well, if I do these junctions every so often, they don't have to be in line, because they can just exist off to the sides of them. You have reached the end of the Bob network. Please turn back. Now. Okay. That's a good spot for that. Let's... I mean, the real question is what's going to happen as I start really adding the weight onto this thing. And that may be where I have to start thinking about adding some more landing gears along the length here. You. And... You. Still have to turn all these on, mind you. Yeah, I'll take care of this problem really quick. It's not going to take care of this problem really quick, but... Oh, look. Nope, they're already starting. Okay, never mind. It's a good amount. Now... Did I shoot myself in the foot on this side? I did, but... I don't need quite such a big overlap on that, I'm thinking. That should be good enough. Block separation gap, alright. Or for that matter, I didn't even need to span 2. I could have built an entire grid with both wheels on this. It wouldn't have steered very well. 3s might have been able to do it, but... I have no lights on this thing. But flying blind. Not getting over there that easily. Okay, drop the engines. It's wonky. That's very wonky. Yeah, and I have some spots, please. Kind of, you know, see. Do something like that. Spread. Yeah, that's good enough. Still a little in a bad spot there. That's a new one. Come see the magical levitating drill. It's because it's stuck in the voxel. The amazing, magical, levitating drill. One night only. Okay. I will look for that. Let's see. I will Don't know what I can do to troubleshoot that at the moment midstream, but I will definitely take a look at that after stream and see if I can figure out how to get in there. Let's see, because I know the invite link should be valid. It's set to be one of the non-expiring ones. It's actually handling pretty well. Until I hit that point. Bob, you can get rid of this stuff. I don't need these drills just sitting around out here. Very big lag there. I think I have confused the system. I'm only gonna break this up in chunks and not big heaping holes. Alright. I guess what I could do is actually run room lamps at ground level on this. Now I'm thinking about this. And kind of hide them under the embellishments on... I'm going to have to put off the edge of this platform here. And these will not be present anymore, so we can drop you. Game figures that out. There's a sprue, we can get rid of you. So right here. Let's see what happens when we try this. Not a spotlight. Spotlight's gonna kill the game render time faster than anything known to mankind, including the game itself. 6 off the default settings. Right? About 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 actually. Okay. 6. Perfect time to get the lighting in with it being this dark. That's good. Actually, that's about where I probably want to have it. Yeah, there's iron there. Monsieur Room Lamp. Oh, good grief. Really, Keen? Alright, you're preset to something, so get out of there. You're not preset to something. You're preset to something. Out. There's 4 lamps along here, right? There's one down there, one there, one there. No, 3. Alright, now we must try to guess which one of these 5s is the one that I want. Can't do it from that one. I can't see it. One of these. That's the one I want. Room lamp A. Get it out of there. Keep the radius, drop the intensity per normal. A nice background light. Oh, look at that underlighting on the catwalk. Okay, hang on. Like that. Let's go one step ever so slightly further. Let's give you... outdoor blue light. Okay, liking it. Now, how is it going to hold up if I actually build out the rim? The idea being, this upper platform I can use for large grids, and then over here, this smaller area that I've dug out, I can use for the smaller grids. The other great thing is the room lights will shine through pretty much everything. So I don't have to worry about cutting off the lighting effect necessarily if I build on top of it. Got an inside wall there. I can see the light gap through there, which is mildly illusion shattering, but then we can come back along here. I like how you keep looking at the misplaced Bob unit. The misplaced Bob unit? You ain't misplaced Bob unit. They're all placed, right? Boomity 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 boom. Yep, they're off the connectors, right? Don't you be telling me they may be misplaced. No, 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 no. No, they're placed. They are placed with precision and accuracy, as always. It's just everyone's definition of precision and accuracy that varies from mine. Oh, I like that effect. It's gonna probably not show up on stream very well, so I apologize for that, but the very faint glow coming from the room lamps out there, that's nice. On that surface, that's good. Now I can really get creative here. Okay, these guys are currently since there's indications on the texture that there's lighting there, stick some legit lights, and we're going to do the diffuse trick on those two. That will make them look like they are just sitting out there. Oh, right, you're going to be on a completely different grid. It's the downside to addressing them that way. There's no way to get to the room light from them. Apparently there is. Huh. Today I learned something. Corner lights, drop your intensity down to 0.5. Increase your radius to 10. That should help even out the problem. There we go. So now I need to do a tweak. You can offset where these little balls of light appear, the specular highlights. So what I need to do is let me in here. There you go. Apparently you can hit the hitbox for the button through that. That's interesting. Like that, but still in the right spot. Good. Kick to F8. See how these are going to line up. Alright, F7 to go into cross mode here. I'm an in spectator, but seeing it. Corner light. What that is the offset. So I can take the offset and kick that all the way outside of that block viewable, the viewable area. So the net result is I've gotten rid of the annoying tiny little ball that comes from those lights, and I've replaced it effectively with being able to see these lights shining down. So it looks the illusion doesn't quite hold up from a distance at this angle, but look at this angle. It kind of fits a little better. And take Keen's engineering improve upon it. Let's see, I need to keep that for the next guide rail. Shut this side, probably. Let's get ourselves out of the log jam there. One of them isn't hooked up to the conveyor network. Ah, I do see the one you mean. He was not happy about that. Let's go ahead and turn him back on. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure this entire part of this side should all be within bob range over here, because we're seeing the small grid bobs kick out there to weld this up, so we got this size just about right for a small ship grind down alley of sorts, or a build area for that matter. It'll certainly serve both functions pretty well. What I want to do is I'd love to find a way to transition this into the train a bit better, but it's a half block height. Do it. I have to do that whole wiggle your frickin' avatar around to find just the right magical spot. You don't even have that. Okay, so this is not going to be a 100% hooked up wall, but then we get down to here and it's a full height anyways. So we're doing down here, so it's got the transition on top of that. So like here. Apologize, shield generator, for what I'm about to put you through there, but rounds it off just enough. This needs to be a different color too. Don't really use the off-white that much, so neon green. Yeah, that's gonna work real well. Drop the. I don't want to pull that one. I don't want to be like green, but not dark, not too dark green like the rest of the base, because then you can't see the thing at night. Try that. Yep, this part of the wall definitely needs some trimming. As far as we can go with that. Okay. Transition from big slope to little slopes here. So I figure out where I'm going to make it. Could use light towers for that. Don't really necessarily need them at this point over here, but yeah, for blocks it'll work for that. Take a scroll through the magical library of decorative blocks. What haven't we tried playing around with yet? Can't really use the pillars because they've got notched in corners, so it's not going to line up very well. Nope. Something different. Something transitory. Something that looks good when it's stacked up against two different kind of diagonals. Hey, Taramir. Yeah, I'm fond of blue too myself, but I want to kind of stay away from too crazy on them. Really use the cross stuff on the pillars here, but it looks like that's all pretty much reset. I guess it kind of works. Different patterns, but no, that's really not 100% ideal. And thank you for overwriting my drill. That was very handy game. Really actively using that. Terms, he says. I wasn't going to screw up the inventory management system, but I actually put assemblers out there. That has a kind of nice texture to it. Bulletproof glass cube. Yeah, I don't remember. Where did that one come from? Blast furnace. That's actually because the gravel separator uses that old texture. Get it to place one block down because I'm not using these guys at the present. I mean, that basically is the blast furnace texture anyways, but the old one. Downside is I see a little too much of the rock through that. But right idea, I just can't... I can't break the rock back far enough without it affecting what it's going to look like behind there. Oh, that stuff's gone for good. Thanks for materializing that inside the rock, Keen. What the heck? A voxel check. Don't spawn something you're grinding down inside the material. Could I do it like a stairway, an extended one? Show up very well there is the problem. Might work. Okay, so we have that. Let's not go with stock color on that. Let's go with... If we're gonna go with anything... Accent color for the base is that. So when lit up at night, yeah, this side of the trench is going to need some lighting, but live with that. Yeah, because then that transitions over to that. Know when I have hit my building zone, when I absolutely clam up. Kind of wondering why the live streamer has suddenly stopped talking. It's not because he has suddenly died. The animator has not suffered a sudden heart attack. No, he's out of the zone. tiniest of slivers there that I gotta try to mount this block in. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'll figure out what we're doing with the paths at a later point. For now... Come on. Real game. Okay. Is something to work with, and kind of give ourselves light the exit a bit better. Keep in mind, I don't want to put up 1,000,001 lights on this because I'm going to pay for it. We're going to be part of the parent grid here, so... Oh, okay, we got Drunk Smuggler popping in here. Covering K, let's see how the base defenses are handling it. They're holding. Holding long enough for me to get in. Thought I was hearing explosions. Not again, my friend. Shot out. Oh, he's cored. There's nothing left. So if you're wondering if I could adequately defend myself with what I've got here, there's your answer. The base pretty much just smoked that thing along with a little bit of assistance from me. Power is now a problem again. Okay. That's annoying. Got 2 batteries. What in... Am I out of uranium? I've got that many fusion reactors and we're running out of power. Going on here. Status heavy overload. Total required 814 megawatts? That's for the railguns. I was afraid of. Let's turn off. No idea which one is going to be which, so show them on HUD. Let's knock out the lower pair. Don't have an antenna on the grid, so you're not going to show it to me because you're being space engineers. Alright, 10 and 7, we'll take our chances. Alright, that helped me out a bit. So that worked. That worked very well. And realistically, the base really did have that under control. Me hitting with the railgun, by that point, that grid was gone. So, let's take a look around and see if we lost anything in that fight. Well, we got some chunks that came down off that ship. Actually, that's not from that. That must have been a fighter that came down. So it was a fighter that came from that particular grid. Ooh, whoa, yeah. Took some hits. But everything held up. More importantly, how much cargo do I have left? Plenty of ammo. I might just have to rig these guys up with a bob and help them with some supplies for self-repairing. Let's do that. Let's give you some computers, a couple steel plates, structure components. That worked out incredibly well. This is why you should nerf the range of some of your railguns. Well, I'm gonna reach out and be able to touch someone. I can't do that. Alright, so we need to bring some stuff over to do that. The solar panel array survived. That's good. The light's not exactly affecting what I expected it to. I gotta get some lighting over there too. This is gonna be a really tricky. It worked. Definitely demonstrated the value of not having everything sitting smack dab in front. So what I can do is actually park you on top of the Rex over there, grab just enough parts. Oh, you're hardly moving. How badly did that dang system load you down? Stupid. The inventory system got a little too keen on loading this grid down. So she's pokey as all heck. Definitely lights. I need lights out here. Even if only to see. Lost 2 solar panels. That's it. Everything else looks like it came out pretty darn good. I mean, considering the batteries aren't fully protected. Question is, how bad are we running them down? 38 days. I think we can work with that. Centered, those are mediums. Right? They're not mediums, they're smalls. Russian components. Well, I'm sure the ship can help me out with that. I think you should also put the salvo script on in enough of a delay that you can fire off individual shots. That's also a good point. Well, being able to fire off individual shots, yeah, I said earlier in the stream I definitely need to get that set up. That's without a doubt. Oh, hey. Some of the stuff came down out here. A lot of the stuff came down out here. Well, if you want to know if that worked, there's a fighter. That's the other half of the fighter that tried to come down on top of the base. That didn't work out too well for it either. So I'm happy with that performance. Let's take you over the bridge real quick here. Look at it, there's chunks of flame and debris everywhere out there. That was perfect. It did its job, and it kept everything from hitting the base, pretty much. I'm happy with that. Railgun mod does have this, alright. So the power won't be able to recover, well, yeah, 814 megawatts. We're talking, at that point, we're talking, I would have to be, more or less, deploying Inspire technology to get that kind of power. What else did we get? I would like to have a small ship version of the room lamp, because I can't see anything at night. Easier if I weren't on... Space just got real, but... We'll check those wrecks out in the day. I don't want to approach them on foot or with the barely defended Lemon Square here. Especially now you picked up all that stuff. You are heavy. Some stuff back here we can salvage. Grab that. Let me... The missile platform over here. This did its job beautifully. You could see that thing was absolutely kicking the crap out of the grid out there, and the only reason it stopped is because it looks like it ran out of bullets. But good news is, I got some on the Lemon Square that can use. All of its panels are intact. That's left over from the station that used to be there, so let's... Have you... I can't even see the weapons towers until I'm almost right on top of them. Alright, what do we got? Now you've got stuff in here. Not a lot of it, but I guess the best thing to do would be to get a docking port up on these guys too. That would certainly help as far as making it a little easier to restock them. At the same time, I don't want to overstock them either, so that's 60. That turret was going for a while then. I don't know how many rounds of missiles I had in it, but it must have been definitely having a fun time for a while. Alright, 100 rounds. Should be enough. Oh, right. Lightning. Lampy time. Problem with that one is it doesn't light up very well from underneath. Needs side lighting on it. Oh, that's right. Got rid of all the construction components I was carrying. Those are very handy, I hear, to build lights. Default lights will work for that. It's really there for markers. Wonder where that guy came from. Usually managed to sneak down that low. I mean, the fighter was definitely more than likely spawned by the junker ship, so not surprised that that came out of nowhere, but let's look at the pancake. I gotta do something to help you out. Power is definitely a problem, even with the railguns shut down that I don't need. Granted, I'm working off a small reactor because I didn't want them to be hard to field replace. Compact ship fitting on a full azimuth's not exactly ideal. I fit underneath you. Shields. Okay, that's not gonna help. I need those shields. I can't get rid of those. Problem is I need somewhere I can actually lock them into part of the cargo network. Shields there. I have an access point underneath that. I have to drop the programming block to get it in. Well, for the time being, if I've got 2 of them off, we should be better off, and I'll just have to get a salvo on that. That matter, you shouldn't have... What is that programming block running? Programmable block. Let's see, do I have... Hey, whips up in salvo. Okay, make yourself a group unique tag. Decorating some quotes. Sec. Railguns. Safe. I think it wouldn't need that much power to put that back up. I mean, it seems kind of over the top, but... weapon salvo group A. And salvo group. You have menu option A and menu option B. Number of weapons, default supplied, rate of fire, weapon count is shooting false burst. Okay, you are aware of what to do with that stuff. That's great. Manually to... That's gonna be separated. Available commands, RPA, rates of fire. I'm not gonna worry about rate of fire. I just want to be able to... Let's fire on, off. I'll have to look in that one because I actually haven't used the salvo script that often, so... Just marked as I said the program block. I can't because I can't. That's the cockpit there. I can't get into the cockpit any other way. I have the long axis from the back for a reason because if you try to go in from the top, you're within the weapons fire of everything coming at you. So I think just using them in salvo. The railguns are honestly they're not quite as impactful, but I think firing 4 has been kind of overkill anyway. So I suspect that's part of the problem. But hey, those 2 defense installations just worked. I'm happy, man. Just saved the base. Alright, I was trying to get to the corner lights over there. New ones, because I know these 3 are the ones I've already set. Because I should have... They're the only ones on the grid with the weird offset. Off. 4 lights. Default fall off on those. That's kind of got a little weird lighting effect there. Bottom half of the stair is dark, but the top half is somehow perfectly lit. Huh. It's odd. I just see... Oh, that wasn't through the planet. That was because it showed it to me in the planet. They're all really up there. Okay, I think we're doing good there. We've got this part of the base coming together. We've got a place where I can actually dock my stuff when not in use. That the base will help keep in repair. I feel a little bit better about dragging these guys over. Why is your ore detector is off and yet you're picking up ore? Oh, right, your landing gear's off. There you go. Save that. We can power you down. Keep running. Save a little bit of uranium. The only thing I can think of to do with the resource ship here. I didn't configure an ejector on you, did I? Start unloading. Should be able to do that, right? Should. Threat is turned on. Oh, you're gonna make me work this manually, aren't you? Ew. Get rid of as much of this crap as we can. Apparently that connector is still not ejecting either. Oh no, it is. It's making its way through it slowly but surely. Don't need the paint in here. Drop the power cells, please. It's great that you gave me all this stuff that the grid built for me, but I don't need that on this one, please. Thank you very much. Computers, all that iron, all that iron, all that iron. Check base power. You might have turned it off since your ship was connected via landing gear. Nope, shouldn't. Should be perfectly fine. If base power were off, I would see yellow over there, and I would be seeing no lights over here. Believe me, if base power goes off, this place is going to be dark. I'm gonna know. It's not gonna give me an option to, I'm gonna be, like, lost trying to figure out how to even take off, much less find a ship. That is a multiplayer problem. And King has not necessarily fixed it. In this case, since I don't have the camera account connected right now, I think that's what's saving me. Let's clear what's not in use. Realize it's getting rid of all the useful stuff that I could actually make use of to build, but I really don't need this sitting on hot standby. Doing good. Just keep driving the ejection process here. And no easy way to do this, annoyingly. Double click is only going to transfer everything to the topmost inventory item, which I don't want. Carry all those missiles. Oh my goodness. This whole grid is just flipping ridiculous. Oh. I should probably do. Turn those off. Stop recycling everything back through my own ship. That would certainly help, wouldn't it? Wonder everything's going absolutely taking forever. I just emptied that out. Why is it coming back? There just seems to be more and more. Granted, I suspect the base is still managing to grab a fair bit of it between everything, so... I don't think it was a case of everything was just completely screwy. Might as well at least get all of this stuff out. Ouch. Go away. Cannot possibly make use of this much material. And the poor lemon square is flying slowly. Must fix it. Well, keep in mind, Shack and Textfire are using different mods than I'm using. I mean, it's the same across the board, really. We're all using different sets of mods, so there's a couple similarities, but it can be just that case. And again, they're also playing multiplayer, so you get the problem where I'm doing something, I'm doing it effectively single player, even though the game is set to multiplayer. It's kind of a weird, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey sort of thing. Good there. Don't need any of that. Get rid of that, please. No. Where did you pick that up from? Don't pick that up. You don't know where it's been. Base system is probably going absolutely haywire right now, trying to disassemble all this stuff. This is all well above and beyond what it would really need for anything. We'll keep some of this stuff around too, though. I'm gonna get rid of all of it. Getting somewhere. You know you're getting somewhere when you actually manage to make the inventory screens change around. That, in fact, I'm really running down to the dregs here. That's all I've got left to worry about. Ejector systems, the only way to unload all of your cargo. When you absolutely can't dock back up to the station because your inventory system is going to take over. Almost done, guys. Actually, almost done, literally, because I only have a couple more minutes left before the end of the stream. And I'm trying my best to not go over the 4-hour limit, because I know that completely and utterly screws with the VODs. So, I am trying. May not always be successful, but I am trying. That should be the last inventory. Nope, there's still more. Come on. That should go. Avant, quit my sight. Keep the O2 bottles here because it's good backup. Just see all this stuff disappearing. The second it pops out, it's immediately being picked up by the bobs. Should be just about it, right? Vectors. All 4 are showing empty. Control panel. That's a quick way to unload. Oh yeah, look at that. She's back to being her sprightly old self. She's not loaded down with everything and the sun and the moon and the stars with it. Okay, locked on. See, I just turned that grid off, and everything's perfectly fine. Both bases are still lit up. So it's something mod specific that others are using, or multiplayer specific. So We got that. We've got a grid set up over here with the start, the first row of our giant Scrapworks system over here. It is a much better run, I think, than what we had behind the survival shelter, or the concourse here. That was tucked back under there. I think that's going to do a much better job of taking care of everything. Keeps the vessels away from the building, too, in case we do have someone come in. We know the base has managed to hold up pretty well, actually. I mean, all things considered. I've given that one a bob, but I didn't really need to. I actually need to fit supplies up there, so I'll take a run of supplies up there in a little bit, between episodes. Load them up, get another bob down on, or a bob over here. So that way both these platforms can hopefully do a little bit of self-repair before they get blown up. We'll have to see how long the power holds out on those two, because that could be a problem. In the interim, though, I didn't exactly get much done on the base buildings proper, but we do have that working. We have an inventory system that is up and running. Got an oxygen supply system built into the base now, so if we lose the O2 generators, we got at least O2. And NDS is a little bit of a learning curve. I think what I need to do is actually figure out how to get that grid to, with that script to ignore docked grids. And I don't know why the targeting for specific containers is not working. I mean, it's very clearly trying to fill hydrogen bottle and O2 H2 generator. The bottle's already full. Every bottle on this grid is full. It's not picking up the mods. It's definitely doing some weird things. As a result, I suspect the base storage is weird, to say the least. Yeah, it's sticking stuff in ingots there that don't belong. It's sticking tools and components. It's sticking... Well, ammo's my personal sorted bin. It's pretty much ignoring everything I've told it for where to send stuff, so I gotta see if I can get a query into the mod Arthur or something and see if maybe it's something weird to do with how I'm setting it up. But take a look at that, guys. We are up to 100% inventory on everything that right now really matters to me. The tag is in custom data. Slab. I'm using the, as they said in the whatchamacallit on the wiki, because it's all supposed to go in the cargo panel, the programmable blocks cargo panel, and I literally even named the cargo containers that, and it's still not honoring it, unfortunately. So not too bad, Lucas. I've been doing pretty good because I managed to fight off a little bit of an orbital surprise without even realizing I was coming under fire right away. And the defensive turrets that I stuck up a couple episodes ago held up nicely. I'll have to go over and see if the got the other one over here somewhere. Somewhere out in the dark, there's a turret over there. And I think I put another missile turret, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I split the difference. Yeah, there's one of them here. I don't think this one quite engaged. Let's see if it did. Pretty much a stock. Yeah, if he did, he barely engaged. He hasn't taken any damage there. It's a... Keen, can you fix that? You know, the fleet that's 1 minute in the top right corner, and then when I move my eyes ever so slightly, they go away, but then they come back. That'd almost be a nice screenshot if I could actually see any of it. I'll have to see if the other missile turrets engaged. I don't even remember where the heck I put them. If I even put them in. I might have just left the one. But it held up well, so... Nice little super gridded monstrosity of... Well, not super gridded or sub-gridded, but... Stupidly gridded, you could say. The Bob network. Oh, this is going to be grand. Drop off a little bit of salvage. I get enough of these rows up and going. This is going to be working wonderfully. So anyways, guys, that is where I am going to... Okay, no. Okay, I'll give you one shot here. So let's see. Before I end it, I'm saying in the cargo, which goes against everything that the guide says. So this is ores. Custom data. Ores. Because that's what's currently listed as. So that one is set to that. This is set to components. So custom data. Let's see what we got. Because you can see there's a lot of ingots sitting in there. It's not moving them, but okay. Let's remember the fact that we haven't told tools over here. Tools. That's the tag it's looking for to determine where to sort stuff. It doesn't seem to be working. Ingots. Those are the keywords it is looking for. So at least ingots are properly ingots. Tools. Nope, maybe that did do it. It's still got ammo in there, which is not right. Oh ho! Maybe that did it. Okay, that looks like that's holding up. Now, did that panel change? Yes, that definitely tells me it's working. So then the question is, where's the ammo going? Because they didn't give me an ability to filter ammo. I've got a manual sort bin for it, but where is it sorting the ammo, potentially? That looks like that did a lot better that time. And why is it still insisting that... Tried to sort 183 iron into ingots from assembler 4. That seems to continually be failing. The mod sorting doesn't seem to be failing, or it doesn't seem to be working. Getting a lot of tried to do from the inventory system. The ingots are not full. 9.2% storage. Components I'm almost full. I'm going to need another container for that. At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to end up that one because I have about 30 seconds left before I go over 4 hours. So, again, thank you very much for watching. There may or may not be uncooperative survival this weekend. If there is anything, I will be trying to stream something, hopefully Space Engine related, if Wasted does not stream because he's got his guild meet this week, his annual guild meet. And if not, I'll be back on Monday. Also, stay tuned. Check out the Discord link in the description below. Hopefully it'll work for you guys. And I will be doing stream announcements over there because, like I said, I'm on vacation and I will hopefully be doing some one-off streaming here and there. Anyways, thanks guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode with all of 20 seconds to spare. Good night!